Perhaps in the run-up to the election, things were said that have made your job a little bit harder today. I want to show you a tweet of yours from a few years ago about the WASPI women. You were celebrating Birmingham Town Hall being lit up in purple in support of the WASPI Women campaign, saying that these women deserve compensation. You're standing with a group of them there. You were a big supporter of the WASPI Women campaign. And then we learn that in government, you reneged on that pledge.
Well, we've not reneged on a pledge because it wasn't in our manifesto that we would offer recompense for the WASPI women. That very clearly wasn't in our manifesto this time around. But look, I understand why people are really disappointed. You know, these are women from a generation who were told one thing, and particularly in 2011, when George Osborne really accelerated that move to the pension age of 67, was really when the WASPI Women campaign came to light. But actually what this Ombudsman report was not looking at that decision. It was looking at whether the communications had been right in 2004. And we accept they could have been better, which is why the government has apologised. But what we couldn't accept was that the £10 billion price tag compensation for that particular small bit of it from 2004 was a proportionate or appropriate use of public money at this stage.
Sorry, Lucy Powell, you thought that it was appropriate
that report was only out
a couple of years ago. You thought it was appropriate when you posed with the WASPI women ahead of elections. You thought it was appropriate when you saw Birmingham Town Hall lit up in purple in support of the campaign for compensation. And your party leader, the Prime Minister, Keir Starmer, clearly thought it was appropriate when only a couple of years ago he stood with the WASPI women. Have a look at this picture here where Keir Starmer is pledging his support. This is in 2022, so after all of those dates that you mentioned, and he's pledging fast and fair compensation for the WASPI women. It's easy to see why people feel betrayed here.
Look, I can understand why people are upset and concerned, and certainly for my part, though, that picture of Keir Starmer there, is it not from 2018?
2022.
All right, it says on your clip 2018.
The page is confusingly called 2018, but below the date is 2022.
Right, OK, fine. Well, look, it was in our manifesto in 2019, so some 5 years ago now, but we lost that election, and we lost that election pretty badly. And that's because one of the reasons we lost that election was that people didn't think we could pay for all the commitments we've made in our manifesto. Come to 2024, there was no commitment in our manifesto to compensation for the WASPI women because we wanted to make sure we could afford all of the commitments that we were making. And we've made that judgment at about that Ombudsman report that was only published last March. And as I say, the big decision that was taken that most of the WASPI women feel most aggrieved about was in 2011 when George Osborne really accelerated that to be faster.
Yes,
and that
I think everyone watching will be able to
was talking about.
Make up their own minds as to whether people were given the impression in the election that this was something the Labour Party supported or otherwise, whether or not the specific terms were in the manifesto.
It wasn't a feature of this election.